Hey, my name's Natasha and I'm here to tell you about how I met Jesus and how my life was before I met Jesus and how my life is since I met Jesus. First of all, I just have to get it off my chest. I had the weirdest night last night. I think I have norovirus, so I had really bad pains in my stomach, and I managed to get to sleep, and then I woke up at 1 a.m. I was so dizzy. I don't know if you've ever smoked weed before, but I felt like I was having a whitey for 12 hours last night. I could not get off the bathroom floor. It was wild. So today, most of the day, I've just been lying in bed, and I am fully employed at the moment because I got fired last week. So yeah, what a time to tell my stories on here, okay? So, Jesus and how I met him. So my religious background is I was never forced into church or any kind of religion. My mum was christened and my dad is Catholic. Mum's Church of England, dad is Catholic. They never went to church, they never practiced it. They do believe somewhat, but they don't practice it at all, and I didn't have to go to church growing up, apart from at school. We sang songs about God and Jesus, so I guess it was a Christian school. And then my grandmother, that I was really close to, she was amazing. She would read the Bible to me and teach me morals, not to steal, not to lie, and I had a real fear of God because she drilled it into me. However, she passed away when I was 14, and my parents divorced a little after that, and I went completely off the rails with sex, drugs, alcohol, you name it. I just was a rebel, and I guess that kind of carried on until I was 28, until I found Jesus. But I moved to London 8 years ago, and I did go to some churches here. In my first year here, I joined a church and I was helping with the children's group, and I just felt so ashamed and like they were judging me, and the children knew more than me, so it was making me feel really inferior, and just, yeah, my ego was so in the way of it, and I also had this chip on my shoulder. I thought that everyone hated me. And yeah, looking back now, it's probably Satan that was trying to get me away from the church, putting those thoughts in my mind. And then I joined the Mayfair Church. I went there for a while, which was really nice. But one day they asked us to separate into rooms, separate female and male. And so I was sat with all the other females, and they were talking about having sexual thoughts. And at the time, I was dating a Muslim guy that was 20 years older, and he was married. And I just felt like a complete demon sat against all these angels, and I never went back again because I was so ashamed of where I was at in my life. And then another thing that happened was during lockdown, I fell pregnant, and I'm not going to go into the ins and outs of it because, for one, it really upsets me that I felt that was the only decision I could make, but I did terminate. And me and the guy I was with at the time, we didn't have any money, we didn't even have jobs, we were living with friends, we were really emotionally unstable, riddled with mental health issues, constantly having anxiety attacks, and we really wanted to keep it. And I guess I started to pray then, because I was just like, God, why would you bless me with a baby when I'm not in a position to? And when I look back now, I should have just had faith in God and thought, no matter what, God's going to provide for me and the baby is God's baby, and it wasn't up to me to choose the life or death over that baby. So yeah, still to this day, I guess I've got rid of the guilt, but even now I can feel like a bit of tears in my eyes because I've never felt anything as spiritual as I did through that whole process of becoming pregnant and then terminating. It was like a piece of me left my body. And after that, I just became really depressed. I became heavily dependent on diazepams and wine. I had no interest in my partner. We were too emotional to even communicate. I was overworking 7 days a week just to distract myself from feeling anything. And eventually I tried to hang myself in the shower. My shower broke off, and I got rushed into hospital naked, tied to a bed, and that was pretty traumatizing. And then following that, I ended up moving in with a friend, and I isolated myself for about a good year, and I was binge eating it to an insane level. I was really harming myself with food. And then eventually I found a way to give up the alcohol and food, which was through Alcoholics Anonymous and then Food Addicts Anonymous. So that kind of took the addictive and substance abuse away from me, but I was left with all of these emotions that I had to feel, because the only reason that I'd been taking the drugs and alcohol was because I was too afraid to feel my emotions. So we took the substances away, and there I am. I felt like I was on fire. I was having nightmares, flashbacks. It was just, I felt like I was in hell. It was horrible, and I couldn't take it anymore one night, and I thought, well, I can't really go back to drinking because I was too conscious by that point. I feel like I'd become so conscious and present and spiritually enlightened that when I'm taking the drugs and using an alcohol, I know exactly what I'm doing. It's so cringe. Like I can see that I'm losing control of myself, and I'm conscious of that. It just wasn't fun anymore, and it didn't work the way that it used to work. It didn't numb me. It just made things worse, actually. So yeah, so one night I felt like I was on fire, and I was having all of these nightmares and tremors, and horrible. So I went and I looked at myself in the mirror, and I really struggled to look at myself in the mirror then. I just saw this big ballooned up face with broken blood vessels, and someone that just was completely lost and broken and ashamed and just desperate for help, really. And I looked in the mirror and I was like, God, please help me. God, if you're there, please save me. I said, I'm sorry for the abortion. I'm sorry for all of the things that I've done. I'm sorry for sinning. And I was just weeping for hours in the mirror, going through all of the sins that I've committed and asking for forgiveness. Anyway, once I've cried myself to being tired, I went to bed, and then that night when I was asleep, I had a dream, the most vivid dream I've ever had in my entire life. And I was there's some apartments in Battersea in London that I dream of living in, the penthouses. And my dream, I was in one of those, and I'm sure God used that to catch my attention. Like, hey, look, you're in your favourite apartment. And then there was lots of men in suits around me, and they all started shooting each other, and I was dodging the bullets. And then Jesus came up behind me, and he took my shoulders and he walked me over to the window, and all of the bullets were just like, it's like the bullets couldn't touch me anymore. So all of this chaos was going on, but I knew that I was protected by Jesus and none of the bullets could hurt me. And he took me to the window, and it was just white snow falling over the entire city. And yeah, he said to me that I'm forgiven and purified. And from that day, I've been going to church religiously, and I had so many more encounters with him since then. And since then, I felt so accepted at my church. I feel like God is with me no matter where I go, no matter what happens. One of the reasons I'm so chill about losing my job last week is because I know God's got a plan for me. I might not like it, fears might pop up, but ultimately I know that it's in his hands. And every morning I try and hand it over to him and just say, you know, not my will, your will be done. I'm just here like a puppet, and life's so much easier and so much more abundant and magical when you let God be in control. And in terms of Christianity, I was baptized as a child, and last summer I got baptized publicly at a Pentecostal church, and wow, just wow, I can't even put into words how spiritual that was. And every time I was having the slightest bit of doubt, Jesus came in front of me and showed me. He promised me it would be an adventure. He promised me it wouldn't be boring. All these things that I was afraid of, he was showing me my future. And yeah, it just filled me with so much joy, and I was definitely filled with the Holy Spirit. And yeah, nothing feels better than that. And then the week after, I was just in this honeymoon phase of just feeling God's love so deeply, like I've never felt it before with anyone, any family member. It was just to another level that I cannot explain, like the highest level of love. And yeah, and since then, you know, he's really turned my life around and changed me as a person. He's changed my heart. I used to be really selfish, and now all I want to do is help people. And I'm not materialistic anymore, which is crazy because I was super materialistic. My ex-boyfriend had an orange Lamborghini, and I used to just obsess over handbags, and I was so always showing off on my Instagram. I don't like any of that now. No, all I want to do is help people, and just do whatever God wants me to do in each given moment. And I believe he wants me to share this story and post YouTube videos, so that's what I'm doing at the moment. And yeah, every day I don't worry about tomorrow. I don't plan tomorrow. Like, I used to do a lot of manifestation and manifestation boards, but now, and occasionally I will still do them, but my last one, I cut it up and I said, God, I would really like these things, but if it's not part of your plan, then that's okay with me. I only want things that if it's part of God's plan. And I think the biggest signal is that gut feeling. Whether you feel anxious in your belly, then it's probably not for you. It's probably not the right path. God's plan is relaxing, peaceful, joyous, and it feels like love. So don't know if that helped anyone today, but share in the comments if you've also met Jesus. I would love to hear it.